Welcome into Sports Talk at the Stadium this afternoon from Williams-Brice Stadium in Columbia. Our report is brought to you by the South Carolina Beef Council. Tough loss for South Carolina. Longtime Gamecock fans, they have seen this movie before. The Gamecocks playing at home as an underdog against a nationally ranked team with a chance to win, and they just couldn't get it to the finish line. 36-33, the final. A field goal attempt to tie the game on the final play by Alex Herrera falls just short, maybe just a foot short, and the Gamecocks don't get that chance to go to overtime and win this game possibly then. A game in which they had an early 17-0 lead and could not sustain that. An injury to quarterback LaNorris Sellers certainly hurt the Gamecocks offense in the second half, where they only ran 24 plays and they only had in the second half 133 yards after having a very good first half, 265 yards in the first half, and an excellent first quarter. When they had a chance to actually build an even greater lead, they left some points out there on the field, but still took a 17-0 lead. Eventually, LSU would get it going with their offense, and the Gamecocks held a lead into the second half. LSU finally took the lead late in the fourth quarter on a touchdown run, and the Gamecocks came back down the field, of course, and got in position to try to tie it up with that field goal that came up just short. So you look at this game, and the first thing, if you're South Carolina, of course, you you've got to flush this after tonight. I mean, this you cannot let this game beat you twice when you've got Akron coming up next week, then an off week, and then back into SEC play. This one will hurt for a while, no question about it. But they've got to look at some of the positive things, like how good they can be on offense when LaNorris Sellers is healthy, when Rocket Sanders is running the football like he did today. He had 143 yards. That they do have receivers who can make some big plays. They do have an offensive line that can create some running room for the quarterback and the running back. So those are all positives from today. Defensively, again, they brought pressure, but they only got to the quarterback a couple of times, not nearly enough. Nussmeier was very good at moving around in the pocket and avoiding the sack and making a difficult throw while under pressure. The defense did not have the kind of success they had against Kentucky from that standpoint, but they were very physical, I thought, today. I thought they delivered some really big licks, and they came up with some turnovers as well. However, two of them were pick sixes, but they were both called back by penalties. And, of course, the one thing that's going to stick in the craw of Shane Beamer from this game, the 13 penalties against his team. And like he said after the game, you're not going to win an SEC game committing 13 penalties. So that is something they have got to clean up. And, most of them were deserved. There might have been one or two that you could argue about. There were some very tough calls made by the officials in the game related to penalties and replays as well that will be talked about with this game for some time. So the Gamecocks lose a very tough game here today before an energized, loud, enthusiastic crowd. I think you got to give the crowd a lot of credit for the Gamecock start because they had this place lit up at the beginning of the football game, and I think the players took that energy and used it to get off to the great start. The Gamecocks took the opening kickoff and went right down the field to go up 7-0, and then eventually built that 17-0 lead. But it was again a very tough loss for South Carolina. They proved that they can play based on what they did at Kentucky, based on what they did today. They certainly have proven here early in the SEC campaign that they can play with most teams in their league. So I think this is an indication that perhaps the Gamecocks could scratch out a 4 or 5 win SEC season based on what we're seeing right now. Of course, they got to stay healthy. They got to figure out a way to keep LaNorris Sellers healthy. That's 2 games in a row he's gone down with a leg injury and has hurt them both times that he has gone down. So tough loss for the Gamecocks today here at Williams-Brice, but they've got a chance to recover now with Akron coming to town, not a very good team, and then an open week to get healthy. Be sure to check out more of the post game on our website, sportstalksc.com. And Sunday, we'll have coverage of the Shane Beamer conference call. And on Monday night, talk about it with you right here on Sports Talk. Once again, Gamecocks fall 36-33. Thanks for checking us out here at Williams-Brice. Our coverage brought to you by the South Carolina Beef Council.